When my mom died, I was only 12. It felt like my whole world fell apart. My dad was heartbroken, and I was lost. Just a year later, he married someone new, a woman named Carla. At first, I thought maybe things would get better. But I was wrong. Carla never looked at me like family. She smiled when my dad was around, but behind closed doors, she was cold. I wasn't her child. I was a reminder of the woman who came before her, and she made sure I never forgot that. At first, things were small. Carla would forget to make a plate for me at dinner or say things like, "You're old enough to figure it out." My dad didn't notice. He worked long hours and trusted her to take care of me. When I turned 14, Carla told me I had to move my things to the basement. She said the upstairs rooms were too crowded. I didn't understand. It was just the three of us, but she didn't care. That night, I carried my mattress downstairs and cried myself to sleep on the cold cement floor. The basement was dark and damp. It smelled like mold, and there were spiders in the corners. I had no windows, no heater, and no proper light. Just one weak bulb hanging from the ceiling. Carla didn't even give me a blanket. When I asked my dad why, he said Carla told him I wanted space. I didn't correct him. I could see how tired he was. I didn't want to be a problem. So I kept quiet. I went to school, came home, did chores, and stayed out of the way. It became normal to feel invisible. But even in that dark basement, I dreamed. I dreamed of a life where I didn't have to hide. I found an old laptop in a trash bin at school, broken, but I fixed it with spare parts. Every night, I used it to learn graphic design. I didn't have Wi-Fi, but I saved lessons at school and watched them offline. I practiced every day, turning my pain into creativity. My designs were bold, bright, full of energy. They were everything the basement wasn't. It was the only thing that made me feel alive. By 16, I started doing small jobs online. Flyers, business cards, social media banners. I did them all for cheap just to build my portfolio. I would sneak upstairs when Carla was gone to use the internet. Once she caught me and slapped the laptop out of my hands. It cracked again. She said, "You'll never be more than a basement brat." That night, I glued it back together and kept working. I told myself, one day, I'd prove her wrong. I didn't know how or when, but I knew I had to get out. When I turned 18, I packed my things, which wasn't much, and left. No goodbye, no letter, just walked out. I found a shared apartment with 3 other people and took on 2 part-time jobs. I worked during the day and designed at night. My first real break came when a local clothing brand hired me for a full rebrand. They loved my work and paid me well. That money helped me get my own place. Small, but mine. It had real light, real heat, and most importantly, no one telling me I didn't belong. I named my business Basement Bold. I wanted to remember where I started and how far I had come. People started noticing. Small brands turned into bigger companies. I hired my first assistant. We worked day and night, taking every client we could. I saved every penny, invested in better tools, and built a name for myself. By 23, I was running a full creative agency. I bought my first car. And then, I bought my dream. A mansion on the hill, with wide windows, warm wood floors, and rooms filled with light. The mansion was more than just a house. It was a symbol, a statement. For every night I spent in that cold basement, I now had heated floors. For every time Carla told me I'd be nothing, I now had a team working, under my name. I stood in my kitchen, looking out over the city, and smiled. But the story didn't end there. A few months later, I needed help around the house. My assistant hired a cleaning service without telling me who was coming. I walked into the kitchen one morning, And there she was, Carla, holding a mop, dressed in a plain uniform. She looked older, thinner. Her eyes met mine and froze. She dropped the mop. "You?" she whispered. "You live here?" I didn't say anything at first. I just looked at her. This woman who once made me sleep with rats and spiders, now cleaning my floor. I finally said, calm and clear, "No, I own this." Her mouth opened, but no words came. She looked like she might cry. I didn't feel joy. I didn't feel pity. I just felt peace. She tried to explain, said things like, "I didn't know you were hurting," and "Your father said you liked it down there." I didn't believe a word. She wasn't sorry. She was shocked. Shocked that the kid she tried to erase had built something bigger than she ever dreamed of. She asked if she should leave. I said no. "You were hired. Do your job." I wasn't going to throw her out. That would make me like her. I wasn't that person. Not anymore. Word spread fast in town. People who once ignored me were now sharing my posts, calling me inspiring. Old classmates who never spoke to me suddenly wanted to catch up. Even my dad called. I hadn't spoken to him in 5 years. He said he was sorry, that he missed me, that Carla never told him the truth. I didn't know what to believe. But I agreed to meet. We sat in a park and talked for hours. For the first time, he really listened. I don't know if I fully forgave him, but I was willing to try. Carla kept working quietly. She never looked me in the eye again. I didn't need revenge. Watching her wipe the floors I paid for was enough. One day, I left a clean blanket in the storage room with a note. "No, one deserves to sleep on the cold floor." I don't know if she understood the message, but I did it for me, to show that I had grown, that I would never become like her, bitter, cruel, small. I had become something bigger, something beautiful. My company kept growing. We moved into a downtown office. I started mentoring other young creatives, especially those who came from tough homes. I told them, pain is powerful, use it. My story was shared in magazines, on podcasts, and even featured in a documentary. Still, the mansion was my favorite place. Every room reminded me of how far I had come, from the shadows to the spotlight, from cold floors to warm halls. Sometimes at night, I walk down to the basement of my mansion. It's clean and bright, with shelves and storage bins. But I still sit on the floor for a moment and close my eyes. I remember the old basement, the fear, the loneliness, the hunger. And then I open my eyes and remember, I survived. I rose. I created light in the darkest place. And no one can take that from me. I don't hate Carla anymore. I don't need to. Hate is heavy. And I've learned that letting go is the strongest thing you can do. She came and went with the cleaning company. I never saw her again. But sometimes, I wonder if she tells people the truth. If she says, "That girl I locked in the basement? She owns a mansion now." Maybe. Or maybe she stays silent. Either way, I'm okay. Because I know who I am now. I'm not the forgotten child. I'm not the basement girl. I'm a creator, a fighter, a builder. I took every "you can't" and turned it into "watch me." I live in light now. Not just in my home, but in my heart. And when people ask me how I made it, I say, sometimes the lowest place builds the strongest person. That's my story, and I wouldn't change a single word.